hope that they're moving in the right direction. In November, the Prime Minister asked the Office of National Statistics to embark upon a process of, first of all, debating how we should measure national well-being, and then, and in parallel, actually, rather curiously, to start the process of measuring it by asking questions of people about basically how they are, as part of the integrated household survey, which gets to 200,000 people a year. And there's been a sort of dispute about what questions should go into this survey. And this dispute has taken on very sort of traditional form. On the one hand, there are basically the Benthamites, on the other hand, the Aristotelians. And it's really quite, sort of rather, to me, it was sort of surprising that such an old dispute should re-emerge in the emails that were flying backwards and forwards between various members of the advisory committee to the Office of National Statistics. But so it turns out to be. So here's one from an economist. Policy discussions focused on happiness are so easily trivialized. For example, if we really wanted to focus on happiness, would the discussion turn quickly to chemical solutions and the summer holidays of Huxley's Brave New World? I hope not. Another economist, who's perhaps more keen on happiness. There would appear to be some category confusion here. We need to settle on what we think is the final consequence of the experience of eudaimonia, the Aristotelian concept of happiness. For me, it would be whether activities feel worthwhile and not valuable. The degree to which people have control over their lives and all the other things which those with particular views about these things think are important should be measured and valued as determinants of well-being and should not be conflated with it itself. It's an economist speaking. Psychologist. Psychologists then replied the following email. Economists tend to take a utilitarian view of happiness, where happiness is regarded as the ultimate good. But just because they believe this does not make it true. As I said at the LSE, it is psychologists who have the most expertise in this field, and their views should be taken seriously. Psychologists tend to view positive emotions as having evolved to provide us with the information about how well we are functioning. Positive emotion is not an end in itself, merely the means to an end, and that end is effective functioning. The eudaimonic aspects are the core of well-being, not merely some determinant of happiness. An economist then replies, the question must include the word feel. I'm happy to drop and value. So you can see the outlines of the discussion that's going on there. Some people are concerned with feeling and think that all these other things are merely the determinants of those feelings. Other people feel that the feelings are merely the feedback signals, the results of the things that really matter. And then a minister sent an email, not as part of that trail, another email. He concluded that Aristotle wasn't right about everything, but he was rather annoyingly right about most things. The media are Benthamites to a man and a woman, and he felt that this was one of the problems that he faced as a minister. He was an Aristotelian dealing with the world of Benthamite press men and women. So that's, as I say, perhaps rather surprisingly, the outline of the debate that has been going on over the last few weeks. It hasn't finished, and there's a sort of, I think what we'll see is there will be a sort of continuing discussion about whether or not, about how much eudaimonia, how much Aristotle should be injected into the national measure of well-being. At the moment it's not that much, but it may be increase, and we're trying to make sure that it does. The thing about the Benthamites, which it seems to me, is that people who hold it sometimes cannot believe that anybody could actually hold any other position. They sort of think it's so obvious that happiness is what, as they define it, is what we're all aiming for, that you just can't have any other position. If you read Richard Layard's book, which is coming out shortly, on happiness, that's really the position he takes. If you try and suggest anything else, you're clearly a little bit mad. And I thought it was worth quoting what Bernard Williams said about this in 1972, when he's talking about people who tend to adopt this position. He says, their strategy is shamelessly circular. Utilitarian rationality is made the test of what counts as happiness. All that is needed to counter this, at the theoretical level, is a suitable unwillingness to be bullied. And I think that's a rather salutary reminder. We don't need to put up with this kind of circular argument. Possibly more than that unwillingness is needed to win the argument at the policy level, and I'll come back to that, because at the policy level, that Benthamite position has huge traction. Now, the Aristotelian position on happiness, on well-being, on a good life, is that what is a good life is determined by the nature of man. So it arises out of our unique nature. And Aristotle said that, as you will know, our unique nature was that we were rational. Others have disputed whether rationality is really the distinctive feature of humanity, and thus the basis for morality. And I think probably most people now would find that a difficult position. But I think a modern version of this, which people have put forward in the 20th century, is that what distinguishes man is his awareness of his own mortality and the fact that he's separate from the world. He is, as an individual, you are as an individual, to the extent that you are an individual, you're not part of the world around you. And that is the sort of source of our angst, but it's also the source of our energy. And we can overcome that by relating well to the world. So that what matters is not your feelings, but how you relate to the world. And this, it seems to me, underpins the kind of eudaimonic positions taken in the debate that I just described. It's been developed in psychological theory, for example, in the self-determination theory, which was developed mid and late 20th century, which emphasized certain key aspects of human life which people needed to have, psychological needs. The idea that you had a sense of your own competence, that you could actually influence what happened around you, a sense of autonomy, that you were free, you weren't too constrained, relatedness, relationships with other people, and so on and so on. There are various aspects of this which has been elaborated in this psychological theory, and which are shown to give rise to positive feelings. So in a sense, it's not that the feelings which supports the point that the person I quoted earlier made. So you have these fundamental aspects of human nature, which you can think of as arising out of the nature of a human being. Therefore, you can think of as Aristotelian. And arising out of that come positive feelings, which suggest that we're onto the right thing. If we measure the feelings and these states, the competence, sense of autonomy, relatedness, and so on, we'll be getting somewhere. We'll be getting to what the good life ought to be like.